Welcome to Mr. C's math lesson on YouTube again. Thanks for watching. If you subscribed, you're awesome. And as again, you should have your name and your date. And today you're writing for a title, 3 exponents in place value. And also it should be underlined just like that. If you've already done that, please go to the next page. If not, pause it and then come to the next page in 3, 2, 1. All right, so again, we are working on exponents and place value. Right there. And let's just read through this for a second. How can you write a number using exponents? Each place in a place value chart has a value that is 10 times as great as the place to its right. Use this pattern to write 1 million as a repeated multiplication. All right, so we're seeing if we start with 1, the ones place, if you multiply that by 10, you get to the tens place. If you multiply that by 10, you get to the hundreds, and so on. And if you keep multiplying by 10, that's how you get to the new spot in the place value chart. I put a box here, but now I can move it. So if they want us to write 1 million using exponents, first we're going to think about how many times you multiply 10 by to equal it. All right, so 1 million equals 10 times 10 times 10 times 10 times 10 times 10. Well, how did they get that? Well, I'm going to go up to the top again, and I'm going to count how many times I count times 10 to get to 1 million. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and now I'm at the 1 millions spot. And that's how they got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 tens, and that would equal 1 million. But today we're going to talk about exponential form. Let's read this. You can write the repeated multiplication of a number in exponential form. So that's 1 million equals 10 to the 6th power. We will have a page right after this that will have notes, so you don't need to pause this, and I don't have notes written right here, so don't worry about that. But this is read 10 to the 6th power, and this 10 is called a base. The base is the number that is repeatedly multiplied. So this number actually represents what's going on right here. So see how 10 is the number being multiplied. 10 is the number being multiplied. And 6, right here to the power of 6, is how many tens there are. There's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. And the exponent, or power, they're the same thing, is the number of times the base is used as a factor. So let's move this box now. So right here it's showing us that 1 can be written also in exponential form as 10 to the 0 power. And 10 can be written as 10 to the 1st power, because that means there's 1 10. 100 can be written as 10 to the 2nd power, which is the same as 10 times 10. 1,000 can be written as 10 to the 3rd power, which is 10 times 10 times 10, and so on all the way up to there. But the question is, why is 1 written as 10 to the 0 power? I don't know if that makes sense to me. Well, Mr. C thinks of this in a way of pillows, and you can think of it this way if you want to. So 10 to the 0 power, I can think of it as having 0 pillows. So 10 has 0 pillows, and I think of this 0 as a pillow, so it actually is just 1. It's got no pillows. But this 10 has 1 pillow, and therefore it is 10. See this pillow right here? It's very comfortable, and it has 1 of them. But meanwhile, 10 to the 2nd power, which means 10 times 10, is going to have 2 pillows. See that? 10 times 10 equals 100, and that's going to end up having 2 pillows. Let's go on to the next slide. Now here's your notes page, and please pause it at this time, and I expect you to have these written, and you should underline each specific vocab word. Please write the definition, and after that, this is an example that you should write next to power, and this is an example that you can put underneath all of these because it talks about all of them. Please pause the video now. When you're done, please go on. All right, so here's our first example. I did an example without you writing notes, and you just finished your vocab, so nice job finishing that. And now we have example 1 written in the top right, and I know that I'm going to write this down. Okay, so first you're writing standard form, and that's just normal digits. And so I'm going to write 562,384. But I want to know, what is that written in expanded form? And we did practice this last lesson, but we want to practice this more. Alright, so I moved the box, and expanded form is just what we did last lesson, and I do want you to write this down in example 1. But, so this is 5 times 100,000, because the 5 is in the hundreds thousand spot, plus 6 times 10,000, because the 6 is in the 10,000 spot, and so on, going on. And this was the harder version of expanded form, and so we want to make sure we get practice in that. So write this down, and when you're ready, let's move on to expanded form using exponents, which is what this lesson is all about. You can pause the video if you need to. Alright, so now I'm going to move this box, and we're going to talk about expanded form using exponents. Alright, so I see that what they're doing is shortening this. I want you to look how long this is, and then look how long this is, and it actually is a little bit shorter. It's not 2 lines, it's just 1, so that's cool. But there is more thought involved in this. Alright, so this 5 times 100,000 is exactly the same as 5 times 10 to the 5th power. And how is that? Well, 10 to the 5th power is the same as 10 times 10 times 10 times 10 times 10, but I also talked about in the last slide that it's the same as pillows. So I could go back here and I could count how many pillows there are, or zeros, and there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and so I know that's going to be 5 times 10 to the 5th power, because the exponent here, 5, indicates how many pillows there are. And likewise, let's look here with 3 times 10 to the 2nd power. I see 1 and 2 pillows, or zeros, and so I know that's going to be 10 times 10 is 100. That's 2 tens, so we're going to have 2 right there. And another way to do it is to count how many zeros there are. There's 2 zeros, so I put a 2 right there. Once you're done copying this, then you can go on to the next slide. Please pause it if you need to. I will erase all of this for you. There you go, you're all neat and tidy. Alright, next slide. Alright, I see example 2 in the top right corner. And so I know I'm going on to example 2. There's actually 2 examples I'm doing here because each one is kind of short, and I need you to get practice in both. And so let's go on, and you are going to try to do both of these by yourself. And when you're done, I want you to check your work and unpause the video to check your work. So please pause your video and try both of these now. Remember to write the question on both. Don't just write the answer. Alright, try it now. Alright, so these 2 might have been harder for you. Maybe you didn't know what repeated multiplication meant. But repeated multiplication means that you have multiple tens after each other, which would be short for 10 to the 4th power. But you should have had a 10,000 equals 10 times 10 times 10 times 10. That's the correct answer. Now let's talk about 37,169 in expanded form using exponents. Well, the first one you have is 3 times 10 to the 4th power, which is the same as 3 times 10,000, because I see that the 3 is in the 10,000 spot. And if I wrote out 30,000, I see that it has 1, 2, 3, 4 zeros, and so that's why I have the 4, because that indicates 10 times 10 times 10 times 10 would get 10,000 times 3 is 30,000. But here is your answer for that. Once you're done writing this down, you can go into the next slide. Pause it if you need to right now. Alright, so your independent or partner practice you can work with your group is page 11, numbers 8 through 15. Remember to copy the question and the answer. Some of you are only doing the answer. Make sure you do the question as well. After that, go on to Socrative and take the gas station. Thank you so much for watching this video, and after you're done with doing the independent or partner practice, please go to the next slide, which will happen in 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Alright, so So here you are checking your answers, and I hope you learned a lot today. Please pause the video if you need to look at those.